Hi, I'm Tracy, the founder of Sexy Aging, and welcome to your move session. However, tonight we're not going to move so much because I want to share with you the yoga practice that I do before I go to sleep. Now, I've written in my blog post about my process or my structure for getting ready for bed and to make sure that I can sleep right through the night and that I don't have crap days the next day. So here's a small sample, and this is for everyone. We're not going to be standing up or coming down, standing up and coming down. So if you're already in your pajamas, I'm in my pajamas, then we're going to be staying on the mat and we're going to be releasing through the spine, through the lower back, through the hips and the back of the legs. And it's all pretty gentle and very accessible for anybody. So one of the things I ask you to do is just to remember to breathe and try to drop into your body, notice what you're feeling. What we aim to do is really release the central nervous system, and that prepares you for a deep, comfortable, restful sleep. Are we ready? So come over onto your hands and knees into our tabletop position, pressing your hands down directly underneath your shoulders, and your knees are straight underneath your hips. Draw up through the belly, just a gentle contraction to remind yourself that you do have a core. Now you'll see I've got my toes tucked under. One of the things I notice with my feet when I'm sleeping, I get cramps in my feet in the night, and I think it's got to do with my perimenopause hormones. So giving them a little stretch really helps. It keeps them flexible and it stops my feet from cramping in the night. That's one of the reasons I wake up as well. So lengthen through the spine. Let's take a deep breath in. And exhale fully. This time as we inhale, you're going to drop the belly down, lift the tailbone, and just take your eyes up towards the ceiling. And then press into the hands and round through the upper back, tucking the tailbone under. And we do that again. Inhale. And exhale, round through the spine. And come back to center. Big toes together, take the knees slightly apart, and then maybe reach your hands a little bit further forward and drop your hips back towards your heels into your child's pose. Now remember, if you do have knee pain, you don't necessarily need to bring your hips all the way back. Perhaps focus a little bit more on lengthening through the spine and pressing the palms of the hands to the floor. Nice deep breath. And then bring the hands back under the shoulders, resettle the knees so they're facing straight, tuck the toes under, and let's go again. So exhale, round through the spine. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, round through the spine. Feel that stretch across the back of the shoulders. If you've been working at a desk a long time, you'll notice this. And then inhale, lift up. And come back to center. Big toes together, knees wide, hands forward, and hips release back. Okay, so we're opening up a little bit through the hips, but we're also lengthening through the spine, the shoulders. Now you're going to bring your left arm and reach forward, drop the head down, and stretch out through the side of the shoulder and down through the side of your body. Your left rib cage, your left upper back. Nice deep breath. Come back to the center and switch sides. So right arm reaches out, and then you're just dragging the back part of your arm along the mat. Relax the head to the floor and stretching out through the right back of the rib cage, side of the shoulders, upper back. So I know that we hold a lot of stress through the upper part of our back, particularly if you're sitting at a desk working for a long period of time. We get that round shoulders look. We really need to stretch and open through the chest and shoulders. Come back to the center. Hands underneath the shoulders, realign the feet, the knees, tuck the toes, and this time press high so that your hips go really high into your downward facing dog. Now, do it with bent knees, okay? Be really gentle. We're coming into this perhaps a little bit cold, but if you've had that warm shower or that warm bath like I recommended, your muscles might feel pretty warm, so feel free to bring the heels a little closer to the floor or straighten through the legs, but I like to do it with bent knees. It feels awesome. I'm also focusing on lengthening through my spine, drawing the belly up gently, pressing into the hands, trying not to make this like a workout at all. So how do we do that? We just gently breathe, just focus on the breath. Now bend your knees, have a look forward, and step your right foot between your hands. And if, that mobility becomes a bit of a challenge, grab the leg and place it there. And check that the heel lands straight underneath the knee. So you're coming into a low lunge. We're just passing through, so drop that back knee, place the hands onto the top of the right knee, and then come on up into that lunge. Notice I've still got the toes tucked under. I'm really feeling today that my feet have been pretty crampy, so I'm going to give them a little bit more love here. Just taking nice deep breath into the hips. Just hold. And then release the hands either side of that front foot. Release the back foot this time and push the hips back so the nose comes back towards the toes. And you're stretching the hamstring, keeping it really gentle. So working one-sided to start to open up through the back of the body. And just breathe. Remember, it doesn't matter how far you come or how close you get to the leg. Perhaps your hands are up a little closer to you so that you can lift the chest and focus just on the stretch here. That's cool. And then we're going to bend the knee, bring the hands forward, and then tuck that back toe, step back through downward facing dog. And notice that the leg that you've just stretched feels pretty cool, pretty nice. And just paddle the feet here. Walking it out, stretching through the back of the calves, right down to the heels. If you're wearing high heels to work, or you like to wear high heels, I actually like wearing high heels, but I don't like how it makes my calves feel at the end of the day. Once again, another area that I do cramp up in the middle of the night. So we always need to give them a little stretch as well. Bend the knees, have a look forward, and step the left foot to the top of the mat or between your hands. Lengthen through the spine. So you want to maintain integrity in the stretch, and then drop the back knee, keeping the back toes tucked under. Come on up, lift through that chest. Keep the hips facing forward. And soft engagement through the belly. Now remember, we're not trying to sweat. My process is I'm having a hot shower or a hot bath, and then I'm coming to the yoga mat because I start fantasizing towards the end of the yoga practice. I'm just going to roll into bed. So I don't want to be sweating. So don't push through this. Just breathe. Bringing the hands down to frame the foot, releasing that back foot, and then pulling back to stretch the left hamstring. Remember, if it's a little bit much here, bring the hands back closer towards you and lift through the chest. Just settle into the stretch. Notice the sensation of release. And if you're doing this and it's not feeling like the sensation of release, bend the knee, yeah? And then relax. Soften your face. Starting to think about nothing but a deep night's sleep and how good it's going to be for our bodies and how we're going to allow our bodies to process our hormones and what they need to be doing while we're sleeping, not while we're awake between 2 and 4. Rock the body forward, hands frame the foot, step back into downward facing dog. And then just walk the hands back, walk them back gently, bring the heels down, And take one elbow in each hand, soften the knees if it's feeling a little extreme through the back of the legs. And then just start to bring the head down towards the floor, facing down. And then just rocking the body from side to side, releasing out through the spine. Nice and gentle. That's it. Giving that central nervous system some love, some space, and the ability to help us fully relax as we go into a deep sleep. Walking the hands forward. We're going to come down onto the knees, stretch the feet out, and come all the way down to the floor. We're going to stretch through the front of the legs, because when you're sitting for a long time, those hip flexors get really tight. I notice my quads get really tight, sometimes cramp. So I'm just going to bring the left hand perpendicular to the top of the mat and reach back towards the right foot, flex the foot, relax the head down, and if you're grabbing the foot, if you've managed to grab the foot here, or maybe you grab your pajama pants or whatever you're wearing, maybe you're not wearing anything. If you're here and you can feel the stretch down the front of your thigh, making sure that both your hips are still connected to the floor, then stay here. But if you feel that there's a little bit of space and room, just lift the leg gently from the floor. Now you'll notice with my pajama pants you can't see that I've lifted the leg. In actual fact, I've barely lifted the leg, but it really does help with this stretch. And then release. Let's change sides. So right arm perpendicular, reach back for the left ankle, flex the toes, and then gently lift the leg from the floor. And you'll also squeeze into the back of the shoulder to open up through the front of your left shoulder. So we're also opening and releasing across the chest. Just breathe with that. And relax it down. Come onto your hands and knees, and let's just turn over to bring the soles of the feet together into our cobbler's pose, releasing through the inner thighs. We're getting close to our bedtime. This is the part that I think, oh yes, I'm going to jump into nice cool sheets. I'm looking forward to reading another episode of this fantastic thriller. Actually doesn't keep me awake. I think the process of reading actually helps me really relax. So yeah, I mean, when I watched Netflix or movies in bed and then I watched or read a book, I noticed the huge difference. I really sleep well when I read versus watching something on my iPad. Just let the knees release. Keeping the left foot in nice and close, reach that right foot forward. We're going to stretch out a little bit down the side as well into the hamstring. So take an inhale breath, lift and lengthen, and then exhale wherever you land. So wherever you land is fine. If you've got a little bit more space, reach forward and notice the length down the side of the right side. Take an inhale to come on up. Let's switch sides. Reach that leg forward. Right foot to the inner thigh. Inhale, breath up. Exhale, breath, release. Pull those shoulders back. Just letting go. Visualizing yourself gently falling asleep. Your pituitary gland doing what it needs to do to help you recover. Come on up. And then we're just going to take it onto our back. I know this is the part you've been looking forward to. So slowly roll back. Hug the knees into the chest. To help us really sleep well, we need to release through the hips. So bring both feet down to the floor. And then place the left ankle onto the right knee And for those of you who do have really tight hips, I know heaps of people have really tight hips, especially if you do some HIIT or some running, other types of exercises, spinning classes, the hips get super tight and sometimes really prohibit you from having a great sleep. So if you've got really tight hips, just stay here. If you've got a little bit more room, reach either underneath the hamstring or across the top of the knee, whatever feels good. And remember, we're not pushing ourselves into the poses. This is to help our body fully relax. And a nice deep breath. This quite possibly is my favorite yoga pose. Just place that foot down. We're going to switch sides. So left foot down, right foot across the knee. And remember, if this is your version, hold it here. Just breathe. And then reaching through, clasping behind the hamstring. Keep the foot flexed. Nice gentle breathing. You should feel this in the outer hip. And our last stretch, just bring the knees together in towards the chest. And then drop the knees over towards the right side and look back. Sorry, drop the knees to the left side and look back to your right hand. So you're releasing through the lower back. Be super gentle. If you do have a really tight lower back, then maybe your knees will be up, and that's fine, okay? As long as you can feel the release through the lower back. And then bringing it up and over to the other side. Drop the knees to the right side, hand to the outside of the left knee. Keeping that shoulder down if you can. Oh, I can feel everything just getting really comfortable. And if I could teletransport my body right now from the mat to the bed, that's what I'd be doing. And then just come back to the center, bring the feet onto the mat, just a little bit wider than the mat, and let the knees hang in and relax the hands out to the sides. And if you're going to spend a little bit of time just focusing on your breath or meditation, here's an awesome posture for that. Otherwise, bring yourself over to one side, gentle push up. Crawl your way over to your bed. Pull the blankets up. Get that book out or switch the light off and have yourself a really fantastic sleep. Namaste.